Welcome to another edition of Success Talk. This is Dr. Herbert Harris, and each week we bring you interesting people who have accomplished a lot of things and who have overcome, you might say, tremendous odds. People who have made breakthroughs to find their true purpose and to achieve their greatness. And today we have entrepreneur extraordinary, Jess Landau. Welcome, Jess. Welcome to Success Talk.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for having me. I love your intro. It was awesome.
Thank you. Well, when I started this process, this is like my second podcast series. So I did about 3 years. I try to get at the front of the line. Whenever something new comes out, I try to get to the front.
Love that.
And so I had a podcast, I guess about at least 5 years ago. I think maybe even 6. And we did it for about 3 years, and it was tremendous. But I was interviewing like famous people, from Deepak Chopra, Les Brown. I mean, just the ton of folks. And it was great. But this time I said, you know what? I want to really interview people who are doing stuff, who may not be well, but who are making breakthroughs and accomplishing things, because people can really identify with that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little about your background. Where'd you grow up?
Yeah. So I was born in New York, raised in Colorado, went to school in Georgia, and found my way back to New York after I graduated. I thought I would only live in New York for 1 year, and I can't do the math fast enough, but it's been since 2006, so almost 20 years that I'm a full New Yorker for sure now. It's official.
Yeah. Well, New York has that allure. I mean, it's like once you've gotten into New York and liked it, a lot of people just come and they never get it. They like, I had to get me back to the country. But once you've really gotten into New York and like it, there's no other place like it. Yeah.
I agree. I think it fits my personality. I am a true Aries. I'm
okay.
Impulsive.
Yeah.
I am in there. So I think it fits my personality. Even though it'd be nice to like sometimes have a slower pace, like I'm a New Yorker for sure.
Yeah, and once it's hard to slow down.
It is.
And people decide I think it's probably easier to speed up than to slow down.
Yeah. And especially when you have like goals and stuff, it's hard to sometimes be able to relax because your brain and your thoughts are constantly going. So it's hard to just go with that.
So you're a New Yorker. You have any brothers and sisters?
I have an older brother. He is out in San Francisco.
Uh-huh.
He did live in New York. As I was coming to New York, he was leaving New York and moved out to California. So I have an older brother. I am married to the love of my life, Mr. Mike Walker. We have 2 girls. We have Ella and Mallory, and they're just the best. One is a teenager and one is a toddler. So
boy. Yeah.
Boy is correct.
Yeah.
It is 2 phases of life that we are really in right now.
Well, I'm chuckling because I have 20 years between my kids.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's like, okay, let's see what new adventure now. But I think the second time around you're much better at it.
More relaxed and like less I think I'm definitely less worried about things, right? Like the first time around everything feels, oh my, like are they okay? Like you're more panicked by the first child, right?
Yeah.
The second child you're like, cool, you just ate dirt. Awesome.
Right.
You're fine. I'm sure you're fine.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Wow. So tell us a little about your business. You're an entrepreneur, and I think a part of this new generation of female entrepreneurs that seem to be really tearing it up and really plowing a path that it just seems to be growing and growing.
Yeah. Well, I definitely feel lucky. I know my personality has never been one to be in the 9 to 5 role. Even when I first moved to New York, I had a bunch of small jobs that nothing added up in the 9 to 5 hours. But what I do now is I'm in the direct sales space. I've been here for about a decade. I've been with my current company for 7 years. It's called One Hope Wine. So essentially what I do is I help people fundraise through wine tastings. They get to pick a cause that they want to fundraise for. 10% always goes back to that cause of choice, but it's a really nice way to kind of build community and help people redirect their wine spend to do something good. And, through this process, I've been very blessed that I've been able to help lots of other people be part of the company too, and kind of start to create their dream lives as well. And so, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the high level of what I do in the direct sales space. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's, interesting. You were talking about with the company for 7 years, and to a lot of, direct sales network marketers, we have so many different terms,
Totally.
but I find that many people don't stay with a company long enough to have success.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. I actually just saw one of my girlfriends. She's in another company, and she just shared her journey about how it took her 14 years to reach the top of the comp plan. And she's like, there was people who didn't believe in me. There was people who said, this is crazy. Why don't you go try something different? And she was like, I just knew my vision was there. And now she's been at the top of the comp plan. I think she said it was since 2018 or 19. So she's been there for 4 or 5 years, but it took her 14 years to get there. And I think that's something that people think that there's always just like this instant success. Like the grass is always greener if I go and start at another company.
Yeah. Yeah.
It takes work just like anything else in life, right? Like you got to kind of day by day do the things.
Well, and I think that's the secret. That's the key, because every network marketer that I've been around, it takes a while. I mean, I've been with a company, and I'm kind of semi-retired in the sense that, after a while, your organization matures, and you get accustomed to your residuals. And I think one of the main things is that you become proof. Many times people say, well, I've heard about these things. I don't know anybody that's made any money at it. But when you can say, well, I made money at it, it worked for me. And especially when it's people who know you, I found it in recruiting. Every organization I've ever built, very few of the people who really stuck with it came from my warm market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You build these relationships, and it really is a relationship-based business. So trusting that process, I think, is also really important. But 1,000%, like, it's not an overnight thing. Like it's just like anything. If you wanted to be a professional soccer player, like, you don't just wake up and get to be it. Like, you got to go down in that field every single day and work on your skills.
Well, my friend Eric Worre, we were actually in the same company together years ago.
Cool.
That's what's, if you every now and then there are certain companies that out of those companies come folks who dominate. So there was a company called NSA.
Okay.
It eventually morphed into Juice Plus. Okay. And that's a whole nother story. But we were in the water filter business, and so you had Eric Worre. He was one of the top producers. The fellow who became the major producer with Prepaid Legal, his name will come to me. Jeff Roberti, who was one of the top all-time earners. I saw somewhere that Jeff earning lifetime earnings somewhere between 70 and 100 million.
Good for him.
Yeah. And many people came out of that company into a lot of other companies. And one of the things that all of them say is that it takes time. It takes, Eric says, it's not a get rich quick scheme.
Yep.
It's a get rich quicker. Yeah.
It's knowing that this is like long-term success, right? Like, it's like putting your money in the stock market.
Yeah.
Like, you put it in there for it to be there for a long time, for like future money.
Yeah.
So I totally feel that. And I do agree with you that it is nice when you know people, like real people who are having success, because I do think that's also part of it is I've had some cool examples of people who were doing it that I might not have been close to them, but I knew they were real people. I got to see them, and they gave me examples of what was possible.
Yeah. If I were running a company, I'd really take the people who have achieved success and bring them closer to the field. I know at one point a company was going through some changes and I had recommended it. They didn't do it, but I said, you should have all your top people connect up with the new people. Okay. And let them, see and meet a person. Because, it's one thing when you're at the big events and you see them up on the stage, having gotten to the top of different companies. And I'll give you my track record. 18 companies,
Wow.
15 of them, all I did was make friends and lose money. Okay. But 3 of them were life changing.
Love it.
Yeah, 3 of them gave me the opportunity to retire from. I was a practicing attorney to retire from my law practice at 48.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, but to have people like yourself who've been successful, I would have them do little tete-a-tetes, especially now that everything is online, little online things,
Yeah.
and talk to the people who really, who've made it, and get some of their questions answered. Because generally, you have the dumb the dumb leading the blind. So you have a new person who signed up who doesn't know how to do the business, and a person who comes in with a dream who doesn't know, who knows less than the new person. Okay, and so so if much sooner in the process, people like yourself who've been successful could connect up with the new people, and I mean on like not necessarily one-on-one, but maybe small groups. I think that would
Yeah.
really bolster that growth, because the growth is from the bottom up.
Well, I do think our company does a very good job of that. And one thing that I've always made very clear inside of our community and our organization is like, I am just a regular person too. There really is nothing special about me except for the fact that I don't quit. I show up every single day and I just do the do.
Mm-hmm.
And I've actually recently started sharing with our community even the behind the scenes that I suffer from anxiety and like paralyzing anxiety, like where it like sits in my chest and like I feel like I can't move. Because I do think that sometimes we think these top leaders have it so easy and it just they're living with butterflies and unicorns and rainbows and like they have real things going on too, like for myself, I suffer from anxiety. I've had 7 heart surgeries. I've gone through a divorce. I've moved several times. I've had a baby. Like real life things are happening. But the magical thing, and if we can make sure that everybody in the industry knows is the magical thing about all these top leaders is that they just show up. They just keep showing up.
Yes.
And they're just regular people. And so it is something that I do try very hard to make sure that our community and even my friends, in other businesses, like in our industry, we just got to keep showing up and we got to keep showing up for each other as an industry too.
You said something, a mouthful, because so much of it is, and sometimes just showing up is like hand holding, like people, it's not just knowing that somebody's there.
Yeah.
Who's had some success or who knows a little more than you do, can help bolster your confidence. Yeah. Wow. That's, but your business now, your business model, you have the fundraising wine tasting parties.
We sure do.
Now, how does that work? Because that sounds like a very good way to build people, because you're like kneecap to kneecap, eyeball to eyeball.
Yeah, well, so what's nice about wine is that it's supposed to bring people together, right? And so we definitely kind of fit more in that party plan mold. And we want to get together with people, right? People want to try wine, they want to see their friends. And I think it's safe to say almost everybody has a cause that's important to them, right? That whether it's breast cancer or pet adoption or the school PTA or Alzheimer's, like there's something inside of everybody's lives that they would like to either bring awareness to or to support in general. So like for me, I'm always fundraising, not always, but the majority of the time I fundraise for pacemakers because I have one, right? And so when you get to learn that there's all these other causes that people have, it's a nice way to build that community. And so we hop in somebody's living room, we try 6 different wines, super casual. Like you just need to know if you like it or not. Like you don't need to know about the soil. You just need to know, like, do I like this wine and would I want to drink it again?
Yeah.
And then we just, I help everyone place their orders and we just make that 10% donation on behalf of the host and her friends. So it's really a nice way to, bring people together. You're all drinking wine anyways. You might as well do something good with it.
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of it, because many products you got to convince a person that they need it. Like,
Oh yeah.
you say, well, like the weight loss products, like so many of network marketing, direct sales products are kind of designed around people's problems. Like I want to lose weight, I want to be healthy, I want to have more energy, I want to look better. But I love that model because you get together for wine. You say, I don't have to convince you to like wine or drink wine.
No,
Yeah,
and if
yeah,
you don't like the one I poured you, like my feelings aren't hurt. I didn't make it.
yeah,
Like I poured it for you. Like it
yeah.
would be weird if you liked every single varietal. Let's call it
Hmm.
as it is, right? Like I don't like every single varietal of wine out there, right? Like I have my
Hmm.
favorites too. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what I order for myself.
yeah, yeah. That's beautiful.
Thank
And
you. Yeah.
and yeah, I love that model and I think that was why Tupperware and some of the party plan companies were so successful because you weren't. It's almost like you're not selling. So often.
Hanging out.
Yeah, yeah, you're hanging out. People get that idea. I'm gonna sell you something you don't want, and that maybe and I don't even want it, but I'm gonna make money by selling it to you. And so I like that model. And now
Yeah.
you said something that was just you said you have a pacemaker. Now you don't even look old enough to have a driver's license.
Oh my God, I love you. Just say sweet. I do have a pacemaker, so I've actually had 7 heart surgeries. I'm 100% dependent on my pacemaker. So I don't have a natural heartbeat. And if I do, it's very, very low. They don't even like check anymore. I'm just considered 100% dependent at this point.
Uh-huh.
So I've had it since I was 10 years old. I
Wow.
am 5 months out from my 7th surgery. So,
Uh-huh.
you know, like I actually think on a kind of separate note, I think my pacemaker is one of the reasons why I'm the type of person that I am. Like I'm just not a quitter. Like I have been blessed with this many opportunities to continue living my life and I'm not wasting it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
with the organization that I fundraise for, a lot of the times, and I was actually on their board for a little bit, but 1 to 3 million people die a year because they don't have access to a pacemaker. And so there is no way that I am not going to be an advocate and I'm not going to like share my story with others so people can
Yeah.
know about this life-saving device that's available.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My best friend has one, and
Okay.
in network marketing. As a matter of fact, he's one of those giants that came out of that company. There's a book called "Who Stole the American Dream"
Okay.
by Burke Hedges, and Burke has had one for a long time, and but his, I don't know that he's totally dependent, but it really, he often said, it really makes you take a very serious attitude toward life.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so,
When you're dependent on this thing that like literally keeps me alive,
yeah,
you know,
wow,
the moments matter, right? Like
yeah,
and doesn't mean I don't get stuck in those small things also, right? And like those little dramas that happen of life,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But when push comes to shove, I'm going to maximize this time that I have.
yeah. Well, it's interesting. So it seems, just from what I hear and see, that network marketing or direct sales was a perfect match because you can control your time.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. So I ended up joining One Hope while I was going through a divorce.
Uh-huh.
I was with another company before this,
Uh-huh.
with a jewelry company, which it wasn't the right fit, but I'm super grateful for my time there because it
Yeah.
introduced me to this industry. And the woman who invited me into that business, to this day, I always tell her she saved my life because I didn't know this
Hmm.
was a possibility, right? Like I just went to that jewelry party and was like,
Hmm.
I'll buy a bracelet. Um, so I always say that Meg single-handedly took 20 seconds of courage and changed my life for me.
Mm.
But when I joined One Hope, I was going through the divorce and I didn't have my daughter every night and I was, trying to keep the lights on for us and buy pasta. Like it was hard. It was a hard time in my life. And so what was nice though was I got to work it around the times that I had her. So, she would be at her dad's on Fridays and Sunday nights. That's when I booked my tastings. When she went to bed,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I did reach outs. Like I truly just built it around my life. And then the biggest thing that I would say that has been really great for, and I think this could go for anybody if you really want to make this work, is when
Mm-hmm.
you know what your why is,
Mm.
make it your reason, not your excuse,
Right,
right? It's
right.
very easy to use your why as the reason why it won't work. But if you choose to actually make your why the reason why it needs to work,
Yes.
like you can really figure it out, and you'll figure out how to manage your time and do the things like that you're not wanting to do when you're not motivated, right? And
Mm.
feeding my child and keeping a roof over her head was very important.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I got you. Well, that that point, I went that whole scenario. I think that is why network marketing and direct sales is appealing to women. I saw a statistic and it said around 70% of the new people coming into that industry are women.
I believe it.
Yeah. And I think I did a program once and it says, Mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Okay. And so I was
Okay.
like, what was that about? And what they were saying was that women are often in that you have to get results. In other words, a dad can say to a child, and I'm not knocking dads, but sometimes dads say, like, I don't have any, like, your mom's going to feed you. She'll handle it. I did the best I could. But with a mom, failure is not an option.
No.
You see? Yeah. And
No.
yeah,
It's important to be a role model also.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I tell my girls, I mean, the youngest one doesn't understand yet because she's only
Right.
2.5,
Hmm.
but my oldest understands that I tell her all the time that I work hard so she knows how to, not so
Hmm.
she doesn't have to.
Ooh, I
Like
work
I'm
hard
very
so
clear.
yeah.
Yeah. Like one day you're going to have to take care of yourself, and it is important that you have a role model who has shown you how to do that. Like I'm not trying to make all the money so you don't have to work.
Yeah,
I'm making the money so you know how to work.
yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm very clear on that with her.
Now, just that you just said a mouthful there because kids do what they see.
Yeah.
You know, they do it, and when they see a person with a good work ethic, I think many young people, one of the complaints that we often hear is that young people don't have a good work ethic, and it's probably because they didn't have a good model for the work ethic. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that, and I don't know for other people, right? But like,
Hmm.
I come from a house of entrepreneurs. My
Hmm.
husband's an entrepreneur. Like, I remember when I moved to New York City, my dad pulled up to my apartment building
Uh-huh.
and we took everything out of the car and he pulled out a lawn chair and sat in the lawn chair. And I was like, well, Dad, are you going to help me carry the stuff up my 5-floor walk up?
Uh-huh.
And he literally said to me, eat or be eaten. And I was like, oh, he's like,
Uh-huh.
you chose to move to New York. You're going to have to figure out how to do this. And he literally sat there. He's like, I'll watch your stuff and make sure it's not stolen, but you moved here. And he's like,
Uh-huh.
eat or be eaten. And I will never forget that moment. And I was
Wow.
like, okay, I got to
Uh-huh.
figure this out. Like, this was my
Yeah.
decision. I had
Yeah.
$5,000 in my pocket. And I was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's interesting. Yeah. But it gave you a certain resilience. It's like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
got, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was real clear. He was like, this was your choice.
Mm, okay.
You chose
Yeah.
to move to New York and
Yeah.
got a
Yeah.
job and only $5,000. I wish you the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah. But that reminds me in the network marketing, we used to call it the two-part training. So when new person comes in, said, what's part one? Part one is hang in there.
Just do
Okay.
it.
That's it. And say, what's part two? Good luck.
I would even make part two, don't quit.
Now you got
Just
it.
don't quit, right?
And
Like
and you
show
know
up.
what? Just that's why you're at the top. Because I guess in network, if you just continue to hang in there, sooner or later you're gonna win, you know?
Yeah.
As they say, sooner or later somebody finds you who's got whatever it is you need to help your organization grow. You just gotta be there to get it. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Ah.
I think one of the other really big things, and I share this with my leaders all the time, is the more people you help win, the more you win. Right?
Mm.
Like it's all about servant leadership, right? Like if
Yeah.
you help
Yeah.
everyone else hit their goals, you're going to hit your goals. But
Yeah.
but you got to take care of everybody else first.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that a lot to my team. Just find out what it is that your teammates want, right? Help them win, and then
Well,
you're going to win too.
well, that's really the golden nugget. Was it one of the old motivational speakers? I think it was Zig Ziglar, and he said that the way to get rich is to help other people get rich. If you help them achieve their goals, you'll get yours automatically. Yeah, yeah,
I believe it. I believe it, and I've just loved on my team. That's what I
yeah.
focus on.
And I think that's the golden nugget that many marketers miss. They think the goal is to make money, and that often when you bring a person in your business, your job is just beginning.
Yeah,
Some people look at it, once I got your money, I'm done. But you have that attitude that's the success model for direct sales
yeah.
in any business. Yeah,
This is a relationship based business, right? Like
yeah,
you gotta. I don't know. I'm so focused on it, right? Like I remember when the pandemic started, I was talking to my brother, and he was talking about how all of his friends, not all of his friends, but a good portion of his friends were like, "Oh, I'm so excited! I get like 2 weeks to work from home because
yeah,
the world's shutting down for 2 weeks." And
yeah,
his advice to all of them was, this is the time to get real clear on how you're going to keep your job, and like
uh,
work on your skills and like make sure that you bring value. And I
mm,
remember talking to him about that, and I was like, like you're so right. Like when it comes to what I do, like no one can fire me, right? Like
yeah,
I am a volunteer army also, right?
yeah,
But it was it was so clear. I was like, if I just focus on the relationships, because that's the key to all of this,
yes,
everybody's businesses are going to be just fine. And like I zoned in, and like that was like a very aha moment for me. Like this is relationship based. Let's just do that. And
yeah,
everybody will be taken care of if we just make sure that everybody's just genuinely taken care of, and we worry
yeah,
about them as people first.
yeah. Now, how do you handle it when people, sometimes you may want it more than a person does, and there's some people that's like you're trying to push them in the bank, and they're trying to stay in the street. How do you handle that when you have a person you love on them, and they just don't get it or just don't want it? How do you handle that?
You just got to love them for where they are, right? Like
Mm,
it's that saying, like you can bring the horse to water, you can't make them drink it.
uh-huh.
Right? So I think it's really important and this is again like knowing what other people's goals are, right? Because also if their
Yeah.
goals don't align with you, that's okay. You can love them for their goals, but like go help somebody else, with goals that maybe align with yours. Um,
Hmm.
but I don't believe in the convincing game when it comes to this business, because if you're
Uh-huh.
convincing people to join you or to buy from you or to work with you, like that's your entire relationship, and that's no fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not abundant. That's a scarcity mindset. And so,
Yes.
whatever somebody else's goals are, let's work on theirs, right? Like,
Wow.
great. You don't want
Yeah.
to make 500, but you want to make 100. Let's make you that $100.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a nugget there, because there are a lot of people, in the organizations, that the people who make this $100, 200, that's the lifeblood of the business,
Yeah.
because they're excited and they're there because they want to be there. They're those hard drivers that, like every month I want to show, in the old days, we used to show checks, like my check last month was $28,000.
Oh,
And people, yeah, I mean, they finally, I think, banned it, or they frowned upon,
yeah.
but it gave the wrong message. It really gave the wrong message, and so what you're saying is very powerful. Yeah,
Yeah. Like if someone
yeah,
wants to make $100, like
yeah,
awesome. What are you gonna
yeah,
do with $100? You buying
yeah,
some shoes? Tell me what you're doing with it. Like, let's
yeah,
get you the best shoes out there.
yeah, yeah. Maybe get two pair. Yeah.
I
Wow.
mean, whatever
Yeah.
it is, but as long as in leadership in this space, it's love people for what they want to create, and build the relationship with them. And then if they're ready to have more, like help them have more. Like that's
Yeah.
all it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I thought you handle your challenges when if you look back, because I mean, you have such a unique perspective. I mean, I'll tell you, of all the people that I know with pacemakers, you have the most positive, excited, I mean, just amazing attitude. What what advice would you give? Well, first, your younger self, because you've been dealing with health, and what advice would you give your younger self when you look back?
I would say trust yourself.
Mm,
It's all going to work out. Like, I don't know if it's a word, but everything is figure outable. Like, I don't know if it's a word,
yeah,
but like, just trust yourself. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen that meme. It's like you've survived 100% of your worst days.
yeah, yeah,
And so, like, I think I would look back on myself and just say, like, trust your gut. You're going to figure it out. It's always going to work out if you just like keep going.
wow,
Because
I
it
like,
always has. And like
uh-huh,
somehow I've always known inside my gut that it was there, but there's been times where I didn't listen to my gut, which wasn't great. But,
uh-huh.
I think for sure my younger self, like you're gonna arrive. Just trust your gut and just keep moving forward.
Keep moving forward. Wow, yeah. And somebody has to tell them that. It's funny. I find that people always often assume that folks know stuff, but when you have that daddy wit, that grandparents wit, that family wit, that kind of knowledge you don't find in books.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as your dad said,
Eat or be
be,
eaten.
eat or be eaten.
I will never forget that moment. I mean, wow. I was like, that wasn't cool. But
Yeah,
it was true, right? And
yeah, yeah.
he's like, once I brought all the stuff up, he was like, great, now let's go teach you how to ride the subway. And I was like, what? And he was like, how else are you gonna get around? He was like, it's
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So
Wow.
I'm grateful for my parents. My mom has always said you didn't come from a family of quitters.
Uh-huh.
So we don't
But
quit things.
that's it. Well, I tell you that there's no successful person that's ever been a quitter
No.
or a criticizer. If you go around the world, there are you'll see statues erected to people of all walks of life. You can travel any country, and there are two things you will never see a statue of. One is a quitter, and the other is a criticizer.
Yeah. Like
A
what? Like
critic, yeah.
it's not inspiring.
Wow. Now,
To
when
quit,
you
you just
look,
have to start over.
that's it. And you know what? I tell you, you have inspired me today. I have a couple of challenges, and I've been really looking at how to handle it because I think as you progress along in life, I know my contemporaries, when people always come with new business opportunities and stuff. And most of my contemporaries have decided that they can't do it again. Man, I can't build another one. I don't have another fight left in me. And you hang around people who are saying that. One day you'll look up and you go like, you know what? I don't think I can do this. And so just listening to you, that's why I love talking and working with young people. That I'm thinking to and as a matter of fact, one of my friends called me this morning and he was telling me, man, he says, I'm slowing down. And I mean, everything he was saying was like, I don't want to hear that. And so when new stuff comes, that whole idea of always being excited and open, that just yeah, that's what keeps you young. That's what keeps you living.
I love it.
And so just listening to you, you've inspired me a couple of things I'm looking at myself. And it's like, if I choose to do it, I can do it. And I may decide I don't want to do that, but it's not because the time is done and I don't have it in me. I got in me anything I need. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of my mentors just recently said, don't quit on a bad day. If you're
Mm.
gonna quit, quit on a good day. And
Wow.
then you know that it wasn't meant.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
she said that, and I was like, ooh, writing that one down.
Uh-huh.
I was like, so yeah. So it's quit on the good day if you really don't want to do it.
Uh-huh. Wow.
Because we all want to quit on the bad day, let me tell you.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
anxiety comes in, or you got
Hmm.
that, 10th no for the day. You're like, oh,
Hmm.
those are the moments you want to quit. And it's not
Yeah.
time to quit because the next conversation, the next moment can change everything.
And change everything. Now, how do you overcome the anxiety? Because that's something a lot of folks struggle with that, and especially a a communications business. How do you
Yeah.
overcome that anxiety?
So I have started to become open about it because for a long time I was hiding it and that wasn't helping either. So even last month we had our annual conference and I was doing a keynote for our company. In the morning of it, I couldn't leave my hotel room. Like I literally was like, couldn't leave. And I
Hmm.
called one of my teammates and friend and I was like, can you come up? And
Hmm.
she literally dropped everything, came up to
Hmm.
the room and helped me leave the room that morning. She's like, we're going to take a couple breaths. I'm going to hold
Uh-huh.
your hand. And like, I just needed to get out of the room, but
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. And so I think, I think being open about it, so you're allowed to have support and have people who want to help you.
Hmm.
My husband is amazing when it comes to it. My
Hmm.
oldest daughter actually got me a weighted blanket to support me. Like she's
Yeah.
even understands, and she's like, "Are you having anxiety?" And I'm like, "Uh-huh."
Uh-huh.
So I think it's really important that like you have a group of people that you can trust and to talk to,
Yeah.
because it's nice to have somebody to hold your hand.
Yeah.
Um, but the other things that I do is sometimes I just allow it to be. I don't try to fight it. I know that it's not permanent, but I
Hmm.
allow myself to just experience it and like let it go through me. Um, and then the other thing that I probably try to do as much as I can, and this happens probably more in my car, or like I'll go for a walk and I have a set playlist that is like a mood adjuster.
Hmm.
And if I can get myself to get out of the house or get myself to change the scenery, then I will also listen to that music
Hmm.
to just kind of change the mindset of where I'm at. Because it comes out of nowhere sometimes, right? Like
Yeah.
I have some ideas of what some of the triggers are, but there's other times where I'm like, why are you here? Like why am I having a panic right now?
Uh-huh.
So I think, yeah, I don't know if that's the best answer, but it is what it is. And I
It
just,
works. It works for
yeah,
you. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure it out also. And
Yeah.
I definitely think as a mom, it's gotten worse, right? Because the thoughts that go through my head are very much about protecting my family and loving on them. And then
Yeah.
what if it, like, I can go into spirals pretty
Yeah.
fast. But
Yeah.
I think acknowledging it and not being embarrassed and ashamed by it has allowed other people to support me, which I'm really, really grateful for. And like,
Mhm.
one of my teammates, and she's been a friend for over a decade. She even just texted yesterday and today because she knew I was having anxieties, and she's like, "How are
Mhm.
you doing today?" So
Yeah.
it's nice to have people just care about you, and
Wow.
that's from this
Yeah.
business, right? I care about people, and in return, I've been very blessed to have people who check in on me too.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you shared that because there are a lot of people that need to hear that, that it ain't fatal, that and that you can get through it, as you were saying. And just many times people just don't know how to do it. So thank you for that. Thank you for
Of
that.
course, of course.
Yeah. Now, as I look at you and your business and your exuberance, and you just have such a way of I can see why you're a great leader. It's like if I'm going to be led, let me be led by somebody who seems like they know where they're going. Okay.
I appreciate that. Thank
And who
you.
are enjoying the trip.
I'm enjoying it for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. I remember a guy once, and he's always his opening thing was always life is hard, but you can fix it. I'm like, why would you start there? I mean,
I
yeah,
would
you've
fix
already, yeah,
it. Pass.
but that was his whole mantra. Life is hard, but you can fix it. I said, you know what, man? I said, you choose to walk. If you could just, life is great. Let's do more of it. You would be a flying person. But wow. So I had a thought. If you look 25 years down the line, because right now you're dealing with a lot of things. If you can look 25 years down the line, what advice would your future self give you right now for where you are and what you're doing?
I would say don't play small.
Okay.
Don't play small. One of the things that I've done since being in the industry is I wrote a book in regards to kicking through the stigmas of direct sales. It's called Get Your Hustle Shoes On.
Hmm.
And I just know that the more that we all as leaders of our industry lean in together, the more we can like really build this into something really magical for more people. Like I can only do so much, but I'm down for helping other companies, other teams. If there's ways for me to inspire the other groups, like it doesn't have to just be about One Hope. It gets to be about the industry and like
Mm.
working together to break the stigmas, support each other, teach each other how to do this better. So yeah, I don't want to play small. I
Mm.
got I have big goals, big dreams, and like go
Yeah.
chase them.
Ooh, now, I mean, that I tell you, you're dropping some nuggets. Boom, bang, bip.
You would be a great teammate because every time we say nugget in our business, we drink. It's become a
Uh-huh.
drinking game. So you've
Yeah.
said nugget like 6 times, and all I can think is my team is going to drink every time they hear you say that.
Wow. Well, I tell you, Jess, I have enjoyed this. When you think down the line, first, tell us the name of your book again. And do you have a website for
Yeah.
your book or for your contact, your business? Yeah. What's the name of your book again?
So
Get
it's
Your Hustle.
called Get Your Hustle Shoes On.
Uh-huh.
And it's so Get Your Hustle Shoes On, kicking through the stigmas of direct sales.
Okay.
So I can show you the cover. This
Okay.
is my copy. So it's not this is like the one where you proofread and make sure it's all good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
those are
Yeah.
my hustle shoes.
Okay. Get your hustle
I
shoes
live in
on.
Converse, so get your hustle shoes on. And we're kicking
Wow.
through the stigmas of direct sales. Um, and then it's literally just on my website, jesslandau.com. So Jess Landau with the one S.
Hmm.
You can just go in there and grab a copy if you want. But that's my
Well,
Instagram also. I'm not very creative. It's just my name.
I tell you, with the nuggets that you're sharing, I mean, I predict people are going to be ordering your book
Oh,
because
thank you.
it just says something. Everything we've been talking about um, uh, are some of the common challenges we have in the industry.
Yeah.
That anybody who's coming into direct sales, they're going to have those same challenges. And you've given some real beautiful, some ideas, some thoughts, some nuggets that can really, really, really help them. Any other thoughts you'd like to share before we wrap up?
Any other thoughts? Probably the one thing I tell myself every day, go be brave.
Go be
Be
brave.
brave. That's it. Like live a brave, bold, beautiful life. I even have it on my shoes. It says brave.
Wow.
So
Okay.
every time I look down, it says brave.
Okay.
I think that would be it. Just be brave.
Be brave.
Be brave, right? Especially if you want to make this business work.
Hmm.
It's you can't watch it happen and wait for it to happen. You're gonna have to go make it happen. So you might as well be brave and go do the things.
Well, I'll tell you something. You have really shared some ideas today, some thoughts, and many of them have thoughts that I call them wisdom thoughts that
I love
not, yeah, yeah, wisdom thoughts that not just apply to the business, but I mean, just life thoughts, man. When you live your life, don't play small. You know,
Yeah,
that if your dream is if you're not having big obstacles, then your dream is not big enough. Yeah,
accurate. You
yeah, yeah, yeah,
gotta fail forward to keep going.
yeah, yeah. Don't quit on a bad day. Quit on a good. If you're gonna quit, quit on a good day.
Yeah. I mean,
That,
my
yeah.
mentor Kelly said that, and I was like, wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, yes, like that's so
Yes.
true because we all want to quit on the bad days. Like that
Yeah.
doesn't help you.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Quit on top.
Yeah. And then the challenges you've dealt with, the health challenges, that whole. I mean, you have mastered that and brought about a great. You must do some meditation.
I actually don't. I
Yeah.
don't, but I do believe in personal growth.
Uh-huh.
Right? So
Yeah.
I do believe, take the courses, read the books,
Yeah.
like find mentors online, like the people that you want, like the version of who you want to be, go find them. Like there's so much access now, right? With
Hmm.
Instagram and YouTube and all the things, like there are ways to figure out how to better yourself.
Yeah.
But I love reading. I love taking the courses. I love those things.
Wow. Now, did you get a chance to take a look at the 12 Universal Laws of Success?
No, I still have to get a copy. How do I don't know how to get a copy. You have to tell me.
I mean, it's online, but I'll send when we finish. I'll send you a copy because you got to get an autograph copy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
it.
yeah. All right. I thought my assistant had sent it, but we'll fix that.
That's
Okay.
okay. No
Yeah.
worries. I'll happily send you a copy of my book back. We'll
Yes,
swap books.
absolutely. Well, I tell you, Jess, I thank you so much to our listeners. This is I'll tell you something. Direct sales people, network marketing people, and people who are looking to change their lives in whatever way. That Jess shared some nuggets with us today that you need to, when you hear them, when you listen to this broadcast, take notes and go back and take some of these nuggets and think about them because each one of them is like a seed that can grow into a tree that can change your life. So thank you so much, Jess. We have loved you being on the program. To our listeners, today's message is just for you. And remember this, you can be anything you want to be. You can do anything you want to do. You can have anything you desire, always knowing that the best is yet to come.
Yes.
And so it is.